Football Club Barcelona's pre-season tour rolls on with a trip to Baltimore in Maryland. They take on AC Milan today as part of their summer activities, up against another side who, like them, are unbeaten. Stern rivals as well, who start off their Serie A campaign with a game against Torino in just a couple of weeks' time. For Hansi Flick, it's another game in which he has first-team regulars available. Several players set to return shortly for the Gamper, which takes place next Monday. For the time being, though, it has been a successful pre-season, getting a run through the automisms of the side, and several players have stood out, including young Pau Victor, the 22-year-old who has been on the score sheet in both of the friendlies to date, alongside some of the more veteran players. We'll have the starting lineups in just a second, beginning with the Blaugrana. But as ever, Hansi Flick having to juggle player fitness, player availability, and giving some of the youngsters minutes as well. Further changes in the defence today from the start from the German coach. So starting lineup for Football Club Barcelona, which does feature several changes in the defence. Across the last few friendlies, we have seen Alex Valle and Hector Fort almost alternating positions. They will be vying for that spot on the right. Still Barca without Jules Koundé, who is going to return shortly. So first 11 for the Blaugrana. Marc-André ter Stegen in goal, Martin Lenglet, Dominguez and Valle at the back. Casado is joined by Christensen, who once again plays in that double pivot role. Victor Gundogan and Rafinha accompany Robert Lewandowski up top. And Lewandowski has been used frequently this pre-season. You can see he is a big part of Hansi Flick's plans. Interesting changes in the midfield. There's almost an open audition for that role in the centre of the midfield in the double pivot. Marc Casado has impressed this summer. Christensen played in that spot at the end of last season, and we shall see how they get on today as a partnership in the middle. As for AC Milan, they go with Torriani in goal. Backline consisting of Terracciano, Thiago Tomori and Selemakers. Rafa Leao returns to action today. He skippers the side, wearing the captain's armband for Barca is Marc-André ter Stegen. Barca will be playing in that Blaugrana strip today. AC Milan in their traditional white away kit. So that full lineup chosen by Paulo Fonseca, who ran through the defence and midfield. Christian Pulisic has a homecoming of sorts, playing stateside. Samu Chukwueze, Rafa Leao and Jovic are the other players featuring in the forward line. Exciting lineups for both teams, Spence, but of real interest maybe that double pivot position today.
Yeah, we've seen just about everybody we've needed to see so far in the preseason for Barca, but we haven't gotten much of Gerard Martin yet, so this will be something to keep our eye on. Number 24, who will likely start at the left back position, might potentially move around a bit. It's also something to keep our eye on too. Gundogan getting a chance to move up into the midfield a little bit further forward today. And of course, Pau Victor has been the name that we've all taken note of, but he's now going to play alongside Rafinha, where Rafinha is usually that right-hand winger. Can Pau Victor make something happen if he's on the other side? We've seen him just about everywhere on the pitch, because he always seems to be popping up in the right spots, evidenced by the goals that he scored against Real Madrid. So this final friendly in the US is likely to provide us some attacking threat. That's all we've gotten in these three games, the first two and now this third.
Well, the first friendly, a victory on penalties against Manchester City, the second a win in regular time in El Clasico, inspired by Pau Victor, but this Really interesting contest against AC Milan. It's underway with Barca going from right to left. When we talk about players who have impressed this pre-season so far, we've mentioned Pau Victor. Deserving of a mention, Pablo Torre as well, who doesn't feature from the start this time around. Hansi Flick wants to see some other players in action, seemingly from the get-go. It will be a throw-in to start us off. Selemakers with the ball back into the defence. AC Milan's pre-season game so far. Coincidentally, they also took on Real Madrid, beat them 1-0, also won against Manchester City. They've had almost exactly the same pre-season opponents, but a few extra games as well, taking on AS Roma and Rapid Vienna since the end of the season.
Well, this tour has been great for everybody, and specifically if you are a fan of football in the United States, perhaps there's no other team you'd rather see outside of Barca than AC Milan, with Pulisic and Yunus Musa in the starting 11 today. Mentioned sort of homecomings here and there a little bit.
Well, here comes Rafa Leao, very strong to get into the box, pulls that across, and it is half cleared by Gerard Martin.
Love the look of the Milan white kits tonight. They are extremely sleek. Really good look for them this year. Looking forward to seeing that in Serie A. One thing that these two teams have to adjust to just a little bit, Duncan, today is that artificial surface. It's not what they're used to playing on. It's not what they would prefer to play on, of course. We just hope that it doesn't affect play too much.
Back in the defence for AC Milan. Playing with fire there with Torriani. With the short pass out, but the Italian side get their way out of trouble. There is Gerard Martin with the foul. He'll be looking to make his La Liga debut at some point. Signed for Barca Athletic last season. Played 41 games for them. His inclusion in the pre-season friendly, not too much of a surprise, but perhaps there is a shortage of options in that position at times for Barca. Maybe we'll get a call up in La Liga this term. Again, the high press from Barca, and it pays off as the ball's won back by İlkay Gündoğan. Here is Gerard Martin. Gündoğan holds off the opposition midfield. Lenglet. Here's Lewandowski, first touches of the game for him, goes for goal and drags that one wide with his right foot.
The ball is bouncing today, and every player seems to be up to the task. Again, we talk about it, the first two preseason games, there's been a real willingness to move forward, not just from Barca, but their opponents as well, which will put their defense to the test. Every team has scored a goal so far in the two games that we've seen. Barca have scored 2 in each game thus far. And this is a third different team from a third different league that they get to see before they get to the Gamper, which I guess would actually be a fourth league when you talk about Monaco.
AS Monaco will be the opponents on Monday night. The traditional pre-season preparation and presentation game for Barca. It will take place at the Olympic Stadium. The ball is nicked away by AC Milan. It's a poor pass out. Gerard Martin intercepts. And we see Rafinha starting off playing on the left-hand side. He can play on either flank, often does so over the course of a single game. And that might just be to have a look at Pau Victor on the right. And that's a nice pass through. Barca go through on goal. Defender gets goal side. And in the end, it's a deflected, easy catch for Torriani, but a first half breakthrough for the Blaugrana with Rafinha.
Yeah, it was a nice break, and he has the option for Pau Victor, but I don't quite blame him for trying to take it on himself that time. The only problem is he slowed his run up enough for the defenders to catch back up to him as he tried to get it back onto his favored left foot. He has the capability to hit that with his right.
All rolled back to the goalkeeper Torriani, who's had plenty of touches in the opening 5 minutes.
This Milan team is one to watch in Serie A this year because they're building something here, and it's not like they've done it similar to the ways that they've built their teams in the past. These aren't the most marquee signings that Milan have ever made. We're familiar with their history. We know how many superstars have come through these ranks, and they play second fiddle now to their intra-city rivals in Inter Milan. But this team is more of a team, Duncan, that I see with something to prove because they've taken rejects from a lot of different places. I mean, Pulisic is one of the examples, but Chukwueze they signed from Villarreal. Ruben Loftus-Cheek comes over from Chelsea as well. This is a team of players with something to prove, and they got started on that path last season.
Perhaps nobody more than Luka Jovic, who starts up top today, deemed a failure at Real Madrid. Now showing his stuff for the Rossoneri. As we see, Jovic, well, speak of the devil, he commits the foul there. It seems on Gerard Martin. Both players have been putting themselves about a bit in the early going. Oh, we'll be charitable to Jovic there. He did lose his footing slightly as he planted his foot on the artificial surface. Just a few players still out injured for Barca, including Araujo, Gavi and Pedri. Three players who will likely have a big role next season. Barca fans will be very keen to see Gavi back in action. It's been a long time out for him, and that had a real effect on their season last time out.
And you and I have touched already on what we're expecting to see from Hansi Flick's team and how they're going to look in the first few weeks of the season. But there's a little bit of a conundrum in the sense that they're starting their season without some of those players. Araujo won't be there. Gavi won't be there to start the season. Pedri, or I should say Frankie de Jong. So if they don't have success right out of the gate, a lot of people are going to say, well, that's because there are three players who are normally contributors who aren't here. And if they do find success in the early stages, first couple of games are tough. Valencia Athletic Club, they've got to play in the first 2 weeks. Look out. Then those same players can say, hey, they're doing this without some of their best.
Here's Ilkay Gundogan. Brought across. And finally cleared out. Rafinha was having a look on goal, and the defence has to stand firm. A sprightly start to this game. We're still inside the opening 10 minutes. Here's another look at that attempted breakthrough. Rafinha was trying to bring that across with Lewandowski in the centre. There will be an opportunity to cross here from the corner. Ilkay Gundogan to take. Go to the back post. One headed up and out. Another half chance for Barca, this time through Clement Lenglet. His future still uncertain. Had been expected at the start of the summer that it would be a return to Barca and then a swiftly offloaded summer, but he's trying to play himself into the equation here. And trying to break down the right. Yunus Musa, one-time Valencia player. Clever ball into the box. There's a bit of space here to bring that to the back post, and that is the opening goal of the game. Scored just before the 10-minute mark, and it's Jovic who slides the ball home. It came off that run down the right. Barca's defence caught out by a series of passes. And Barca trail AC Milan by 1-0.
Well, it's all of those suspected rejects that we were just talking about. Musa brings it all the way down the length of the pitch on the right-hand side, gives it to Chukwueze, who slots in Pulisic, who sets up Jovic. That's the 5 right there that get the job done for AC Milan. It's poor defending from Barca, but it just happened so fast. It almost seems like they didn't know what hit them. And it's now up to Barca to respond to that, because both sides have been getting forward with relative ease.
It is 1-0 to the Italian side. We saw Gerard Martin pulled out of position. The pass to Pulisic. And he had just a little bit of time to pick out that pass to the back post. Something to work on for Barca before the start of the season. It is always difficult when in every game it's at least some variation of the defence. Nevertheless, plenty of time still to sort that out. We are just 11 minutes deep in this pre-season contest. We're into the area now for Barca. It's been a wild start to the game, and that run comes to an end with Torriani diving atop the ball.
I think you actually bring up an interesting point. We talk so much and we always hear about what is Hansi Flick football going to look like. What's the attacking style going to be? That seems to be all we talk about, is the attacking style. I'm also curious to know defensively, how are they going to line up? How are they going to be to defend? Because the year that they won the league 2 years ago, they were the best defense potentially in all of Europe. And under Hansi Flick, will they have similar defensive success in keeping clean sheets?
Here comes a spirited run from Simon Chukwueze. Plays that outside. It could have been another delivery across. The Barca defence had other ideas. Gundogan trying to help out at the back. It's Chukwueze again. Prevented from making the cross in by Gerard Martin. It's released there upfield, but Robert Lewandowski cuts a lone figure just beyond the halfway line.
Tactically, attacking football is intricate, well planned out, right? Very finite, very specific movements and ideas. And in many ways, defensive football is kind of like that Turkish Olympian shooter who's just sort of there, making sure he's in the right place at the right time.
Here comes Leao, tries to slide that one to his teammates. He's looking to pick out Jovic. It's a clever move after faking the shot in the end, though. It rolls harmlessly out of play.
He's a talent. We know that. A creator, and probably the biggest threat on the pitch for Milan today.
Second game between the sticks this summer for Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Our first friendly against Manchester City saw Iñaki Peña in goal, with Ander Astrolaga coming in the second half and having a great performance in the penalty shootout. Little doubt though that Marc-Andre ter Stegen will be the first choice goalkeeper. So there's the captain's armband today, and he's played a nice ball forward. It's Barca into the box. Opportunity to bring this central. Maybe just waited slightly too long. Pau Victor. It's going to be collected by Pau Victor. It was actually Ilkay Gundogan, who was on the edge of the box, who's calling for it. And Gerard Martin again. Lewandowski trying to get things organised in the centre, just pointing to his teammates to tell them whether to stick or move.
Route 1 football. Gotta say, we're not used to it, but we like it.
Almost coast to coast from Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Leao. To Alex Bailly across, and this one finds its way from an acute angle into the net. It's the second goal for AC Milan. And it's Christian Pulisic who scores on something akin to home soil, doubling the lead for AC Milan, slightly against the run of play just when Barca was settling in. And Pulisic with that shot from a very narrow angle to best Ter Stegen.
Now Hershey, Pennsylvania is in the house, just a couple of hours away, and it is Captain America, Duncan. Sorry to say it, but if we're talking about this from Barca's perspective, you've got to be able to close that down a little bit better. He gets in behind and doesn't have a whole lot of room to maneuver and still manages to slot it beyond Ter Stegen. And Barca are left with a lot of work to do now in this friendly, despite the fact that they've been attacking well. They've been caught out very quickly on 2 separate occasions in a 5-minute span.
And Pulisic scores, curiously enough, with his left foot. Those kind of goals normally scored with the right, opening up your body slightly. Questions maybe to be asked about the defensive positioning and maybe the positioning of Ter Stegen. It finds its way inside the right post. AC Milan doubled their advantage. And Barca have it all to do. There's been, 3 or 4 attacks from AC Milan, 2 goals. Barca have had a couple of chances without really testing Torriani just yet.
Yeah, they've gotten into the positions, haven't they?
It looks as if it was aimed inside by Gerard Martin, but Rafinha intercepts from his own teammate Lewandowski. One robbed away. Ball over to the left-hand side. A little bit of crowd work there from Rafa Leao. He's got the pace as well to beat Valle. Didn't have the end product as he cut back. And it was successfully cleared by Marc Casado.
The preseason is the time to give the people a show.
Not quite a seal dribble from Rafa Leao. But turning on the style over on that left-hand side where he has been a constant threat for Alex Valle. And Pau Victor, who of course is having to double up on that right-hand side in that unfamiliar role. Lewandowski sends that on its way. There's Rafinha, just took an extra touch there, and Torriani has to make his first real save of note. Lewandowski tries to follow up, and there was no way through. The block there by Terracciano.
That's another chance for Rafinha, and another excellent bit of being one step ahead of the ball for Robert Lewandowski, who seems to be at the races today. That was a brilliant pass to set up Rafinha.
Alan skims its way through. It comes to Ter Stegen. Barca again will bring the ball out from the back. Langley. Ter Stegen assesses his options after several false starts, decides to play the short pass. It's one of those things we've seen constantly this pre-season as well. Lewandowski had dropped really far back to try and organise things. Casado. When you look at the Barca midfield, Casado, one of the players who've had the most minutes. It's almost an open audition for that role in the defensive pivot, especially with what seems like the imminent departure of Oriol Romeo. There's a position available there.
You know, we have to think about, as we see this pass from Lewandowski again, one time perfectly over the top, and it's a tough angle for Rafinha. He did what he could on that occasion, did manage to find the target. This preseason and every preseason we say don't take it too seriously, and then we watch young players and we take it too seriously, like Pau Victor or Casado. I really believe that we don't know for sure what it should look like until we get 5 to 6 games into the season and give these players a chance to play when it actually counts.
Here is Christensen. We've seen him in this position before. Towards the end of last season, Xavi favoured Christensen in the midfield role rather than the centre of the defence.
Ew.
Trying that nutmeg. It was the numbers game that won out, though, inside the box. Terracciano offering a little bit of support to his teammate after he'd been nutmegged.
It was almost too easy.
Turns on the start, and it was relying on Thiaw to get that away.
I like that whenever there's a nutmeg, even if it doesn't amount to anything, we're required to show it on replay.
It's an Ole moment for whoever protagonised it. Sometimes it gets cut off very shortly afterwards.
Yeah, like then.
As the run isn't continue, there's very differing definitions of a nutmeg as well. Here's Rafinha to the feet of Lewandowski. Barca pulled the goal back. It's Robert Lewandowski who arrives almost in the second line. Rafinha sets him up. The Pole provides the finish, and it is Barca 1, AC Milan 2. Lewandowski gets the Blaugrana going.
This is what he needs in his preseason. Hasn't been the strongest preseason so far for Robert, but tonight he just seems to be locked in. And that's really tidy. It doesn't have to be overpowering. He knows where the goal is, and he's got to make a decision, near post or far post, and he just curls it, boomerangs it around the defender and around Torriani. Barca have one back.
Well, Thiaw had just stepped off a pace from Robert Lewandowski, and one of the best finishers in the game manages to make it 2-1. Barca trail just by a single goal now, 22 minutes deep in this pre-season friendly.
What a start.
Lewandowski as well, looking motivated, wins the ball back. It goes all the way back to Ter Stegen. We saw the move that led to the goal. It all started with Marc-Andre Ter Stegen going long, albeit not the best distribution. It was intercepted by the opposition defence with a heavy control. Another run for the Blaugrana now. Here's Rafinha. This time around he strikes first time. Torriani at full stretch manages to parry the ball away.
Boy, I'm not sure what more he can do.
Another delivery to Casado. Well, that's got the crowd to their feet. It's another delivery trying to pick out Leao. Well intercepted by Clement Lenglet. And that's really turned the energy up a gear. 3 goals already. We're midway through the first half here in Baltimore. Gundogan. Ball played through, an interesting pass which is intercepted. It was Tomori who was trying for the clearance, was closed down.
They seem to be getting in behind the defense tonight, Barca. And that's a similar shot to what we just saw a few minutes ago from Rafinha. He does really well, takes it first time, keeps it low. It's just a nice save. If we have the right angle on that, it looked like it was headed for the far corner, right near the inside of the post.
Rafinha's been very active on what is his less favoured left side. Had some great variety. He's had one that he's tried to control, one that he's hit first time, and another But he's passed across to Lewandowski to score. Several good opportunities for the Brazilian attacker, and the free kick has been given away here as Loftus-Cheek just pie faces Casado, stiff arms him away. Free kick is in a decent position for the Blaugrana. Not too much organising of the wall going on from the young goalkeeper Torriani. Let's see how many he's placed in that barrier. As Rafinha and Lewandowski both have a look. It is 4 with one player just slightly isolated to the left-hand side. You'd have to imagine it would be Rafinha, and he takes it low. Not a great delivery from the Barca player. Has been very active in the early going. Maybe would have favoured Lewandowski there for a more curling effort. We've seen some great free kicks from Lewandowski.
Yeah, unless what Rafinha was trying to do was sneak it under the wall, which is what it looked like. Just didn't quite come off. I think there's an interesting debate. We talk about expected goals in present-day football a lot. Would you rather have the guy who's got 10 goals on 20 expected goals, or would you rather have the guy who's got 20 goals on 10 expected goals? Rafinha is the guy right now who's getting a lot of chances. When he's hot, he's hot. We've seen that.
Here's Chukwueze, who goes inside.
I don't know how you feel about that, Duncan, but for me...
Well, Leao goes down inside the box, nothing given by the referee.
For me, I want the guy who gets himself in position to score 20 times rather than the guy who's outperforming his XG, because that tells me that even though he might not be finishing some, he's still putting his team in the best spot to score goals.
Rafinha's delivered that quickly to Ilkay Gundogan, and Gundogan tries to return. Rafinha will go through on goal if the flag stays down. Holds it up, waits for the cavalry to arrive. It's a poor pass in the end that ricochets back. And Gundogan over to the right. Someone delivered into the centre. There's the header down, and somehow goalkeeper and defender conspire to get that out. Lewandowski with a soft cushioned header down. And Torriani and one of his defenders managed to get that clear.
It's another Lewandowski chance with a strong header.
But like Thiaw had a little bit more luck than judgment there, getting the ball clear. We'll see another Barca corner to be taken by Gundogan.
Uh-oh. That looks painful.
A clash of heads immediately brings the physios on. It's Clement Lenglet who's, or no, it's Christensen rather, who has come off the worst in that exchange. And that one Will Smart.
Both came down holding their heads immediately. Just hope that it's nothing more than a small bump in the road.
Well, Christensen has his bell rung by that. That collision with Thiaw gives the chance for the players to take on some fluids and also get some tactical advice. Hansi Flick talking to his assistants, whilst Paulo Fonseca, the Portuguese coach, is giving some advice to his players directly. Christensen back up and walking about. as we reach the half hour here in Baltimore. Well, with that, we actually have a cooling break. Temperatures high enough to warrant it. There's a few extra minutes for Christensen to recover as well. Hansi Flick is looking at something with his assistants. He's called over Lewandowski as well.
No surprises thus far that Lewandowski has embraced this new managerial change with a guy that he's familiar with, someone that he scored many goals under, and is hoping to, if not replicate those numbers, which is going to be virtually impossible, at least try to do justice to them for this upcoming season. Barca have looked good in the first half an hour. I think they've gotten themselves into a lot of goal-scoring positions. Preseason is not about being able to finish those as often as you would during the regular season, but just about getting there and going back to the Route 1 football. We love tiki-taka. That's great. Let's keep that up. But having that as an additional option, as you see more coaching coming from Thiago, as we're likely going to get a look here at the goals. This is the first one. Route 1 football's all right. It's going to keep your opponents guessing. These first two from Milan will be looked at over and over by Hansi Flick and his staff to figure out defensively where they need to improve.
There were defensive lapses for the opening goals, which came in quick succession, early doors as well in this friendly. Pulisic with the second for AC Milan.
I do think that Araujo, if he was in that position instead of Sergio Dominguez, probably stops that. And there you go, Ter Stegen just hoofing it up the pitch, see what happens, and look at that. 5 seconds later, Lewandowski's got it in the back of the net.
Well, it's the road less travelled for Barca, but it was effective nonetheless. That means there's just a single goal in this one. Hydration break about to come to an end.
And the stadium is playing. It's getting hot in here because as for hydration breaks, we know, especially here in Spain, that it's going to stay that way, which is why all of the Week 1 matchups are being played at night, 7:30 and 9 o'clock, 5 different days of match day 1.
Well, it is curious. We get these late night fixtures in La Liga, but all of a sudden we get to September where it's just as hot, and suddenly it is okay to play in Seville at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But just have a look at the fixtures for Barca coming up, which will be in some pretty high heat. Well, Madrid is certainly not the coolest place to be at the end of August. Absolutely sweltering in the capital. And Valencia gets a bit of heat in it as well.
And they'll be playing in Vallecas, although that's a 9:30 start, so I'll venture to guess that it won't be as bad as if they were to play at 2.
Away games to start off with against Valencia, Rayo Vallecano, Girona, Villarreal and Osasuna. Then against Osasuna, unlikely to be too hot at the end of September up in Pamplona. But there will be some teams who really struggle in the heat. It's a very different prospect playing sides up north in the cold of winter and playing in the hot heat of August and September. So we're back underway after the cooling break.
Look at that. That's exactly what you want to see. I know the scoreboard doesn't reflect it yet, but that's okay. It's okay today. Even okay during the Gamper. Of course, you'd like to win the Gamper, but once we get into the games that count, expect to see a lot of these go in.
Gerard Martin is dispossessed. Gerard Martin wins the ball back, does so well from Samu Chukwueze. Barca have had a mid-high press in this first half. They sent players forward again to try and put a bit of pressure on the young goalkeeper Torriani. Just 19 years of age. And Torriani came up through the youth ranks. Has yet to make his full debut for the Rossoneri. Another foul call, this time against Marc Casado.
Post-hydration break has slowed us down a little bit.
There is Torriani. The 19-year-old looks for a pass out. There's the break across the halfway line, and it's a professional foul to cut things out.
And that's likely going to see him put in the book. There's not a whole lot you can do if you're Gerard Martin and a freight train is coming down the right-hand side. We've seen Musa make that run once already, and he had Martin beat.
Gerard Martin has had a mixed first half. No question, he wasn't going to let the opposition player get past him.
Musa has excellent momentum speed. Once he gets going, he's difficult to stop. In another life, he is a champion in several other sports I could think of. The Olympics are going on right now. I could think of a couple of different athletics competitions that he would thrive in.
So we see another foul called. He's in the centre of the park. As is customary, AC Milan with plenty of goalkeepers on the books, from Nora Veri to Alessandro Longoni, Marco Sportiello as well. For the time being, they're on the attack, and this one is put wide. It was a poor finish there from Samu Chukwueze. Opened up his body far too much, but he had almost the entire goal at his mercy.
He loves that little left-footed curly. He just didn't wrap it around his foot that time. Did the hard work to get beyond Langlet.
Had a play on the far side. We're closing in on half-time here. By the looks of things for the second half, we won't have the wholesale changes on 45 minutes. Hansi Flick he's tried to get some kind of skeleton and continuity that carries over at least until the hour mark, and then by the end of these pre-season friendlies we have almost or even fully changed lineups.
And I think you also want to give these players, even though there are some of them on the pitch now who won't be starting for Barca once the season starts, you want to give them time to play together. 45 minutes isn't quite enough. We see Casado fouled. So play your first 45, get into halftime, treat it as if it was a normal, traditional readjustment period of a 15-minute break, and say, all right, we need to improve on this. Let's send out the same crew. We'll see if that happens tonight. go on, take 15, 20 minutes, make those adjustments, and then we'll start to make our changes.
Rafinha, a solid first half for him. He has been very active, very prominent. It's a slightly overhit pass. It's well kept in. The linesman's almost taken out. And Alex Valle, that's swung into Gundogan, into the centre. There's no finish though for Barca. Great control from Ilkay Gundogan as he was backpedaling to bring that one down. Ter Stegen. Another long ball from Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. He's asking a lot of Alex Valle on the bounce. It's been an interesting change of tack from Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. Long distribution just to catch out the AC Milan defence.
Well, we say he's always good with his feet, right? I mean, he's able to make those passes, and there's another cross that finds a Barca body in the 6-yard box.
Gundogan. Across the halfway line, but Pau Victor couldn't get onto it. But a bit more of a quiet first half from Pau Victor to what we've seen in those two sensational opening pre-season friendlies in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't want to go so far as to say he's been invisible, but we haven't seen him in the way that we saw him in the first two games. And that might just be a product of the flow that Rafinha and Lewandowski have had in the first half. Here he is.
Through it will be collected by goalkeeper Torriani. Shoving the back there on a Milan player by Clement Lenglet, who pushed all the way forward. So coming up to half time, just a couple of minutes plus maybe some stoppage time for the cooling break. The sides will be back out for the second half, which normally sees some interesting adjustments. Highly entertaining first half. So far 3 goals we've been treated to. Though perhaps some concerns in the Barca camp about those 2 goals conceded in the opening 15 minutes due to a couple of defensive lapses. Here's a run to Ter Stegen, decides to come out for, he blasts that into the face of the oncoming attacker. And it looks like the attacker caught that flush. Might be Pulisic.
Well, that's got to be painful. It sure was. Oh, right in the side of the head.
Well, Captain America unable to get his shield up in time to block that. He had every right to go for it, and Marc-Andre Ter Stegen looked a little bit uncertain first of all as he stepped out of the area. That just encouraged Pulisic to come even further forward.
Those are the ones that hurt even more too, Duncan, because this is the preseason, and as soon as you get hurt, and I'm not saying we hope that he's not hurt enough to take him out of this game or do any further damage, but as soon as you feel pain in a preseason game, your first question is, why? This game doesn't mean anything. Not much he could have done about that, just in the wrong spot when Ter Stegen cleared that, but it looks like he's all right.
And Pulisic back up. So no ill effects. We will have 5 minutes of additional time for the cooling break and the various pauses in this contest.
No doubt he'll have to come off and get looked at. Go through the customary concussion protocol before coming back on.
And drop ball. Leao will return this to Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Another moment, though, in which the Barca defence were left slightly isolated. Ter Stegen had to take matters into his own hands. Pulisic back on the field of play now. Here's Casado. Also couldn't link together those passes on the far side. The ball back into the defence. We're seeing an energetic press from Barca, at least in the second third. Sliced away, it is going to be, well, rather unorthodox take there by Torriani. He wasn't sure whether he was allowed to catch that or not. The volley was unconvincing, to say the least. Through the middle, Gundogan manages to get that back under control for Barca. Lewandowski awaits in the centre. Rafinha instead cuts it back to Christensen. Gerard Martí into the centre, lifted up by Rafinha. Knocked by Lewandowski. There's the finish. But the offside flag is up on the far side. It looks as if it was going to be another goal for Pau Victor.
Ooh, I don't know. That was very close, and another ingenious pass from Robert Lewandowski, who's being selfish and unselfish today. Let's see. Yep, he was offside, but boy, that's still something for the highlight reel for Lewandowski.
And great vision, great combination from Lewandowski. It does not get its reward, though. Pau Victor's goal is chalked off, as he was in an illegal position. Down the left, just been cut back. And Leao, he was trying to bring that across, and Marc-Andre ter Stegen kept his eye on the ball. Failed to be hypnotised by Leao, got past Valle.
Yeah, and the youngsters, especially in defense and in the central midfield like Casado, they've been good this preseason, but they're going to have to be better defensively if they want to maintain their defensive solidity this season, which of course Barca will want to do. Valle got dropped that time against a much stronger layout.
So here is Torriani, the pass out. Musa. Torriani again. Goals in the first half scored by Luka Jovic, Christian Pulisic and Robert Lewandowski. It's going to be 2-1 to AC Milan at the interval. Barca's perfect pre-season record under threat as we reach the interval. has been an absorbing first half. We'll have more to come in the second period coming up after this quick break. Both sides getting one step closer to being ready for the coming season. Half time now, second half on the way. We're back in Baltimore, Maryland for the second half of Barca's latest preseason friendly. The Blaugrana trail by 2-1. That man, Robert Lewandowski, pulling a goal back after Luka Jovic and Christian Pulisic had established an early advantage within the opening quarter hour for the Rossoneri. AC Milan yet to come back out for this second half. We'll get this one underway again shortly and we'll see what kind of changes are made for the restart. It does look as if it will be a trio of changes, including a first look this summer at Jules Koundé. He will likely come on for Alex Valle. Kim Jun-yet and Marc Bernal will also be introduced. And a good chance to see Jules Koundé was away with France in Euro 2024. One of those players who was slightly later back. But a trio of changes, one more or less in each position. Not too much of an adjustment for Hansi Flick. He'll keep much of the structure that we saw in the first half. Players withdrawn: Ilkay Gundogan, Alex Valle and Andres Christensen.
Good to see Koundé back in the fold for sure. When we see Koundé back in the fold, we'll know that things might be leaning back towards normalcy.
And further changes as well for AC Milan. They will take two players off. Jovic will be replaced by Calabria and Benacer. On for Rafael Leao, who was doing a really, really dangerous job down that left-hand side. It will come as something of a relief to the Barca defence to not have to face Leao in the second half.
Yeah, I guess with Koundé, who will likely slot back into that right back position that we saw him play much of the last two seasons. It's a shame that he won't get to match up with Leao, because that's a nice matchup. I like that. But perhaps for your first minutes in the preseason back, it's all right to just relax against a lesser opponent for a moment, with all due respect.
So we have 5 changes in total. Like to see more substitution from Hansi Flick on the hour mark, but we're back underway. High press to start things off for Barca, who go from left to right in this second stanza. Confirmation of those substitutions. There's a rather reckless challenge to start things off from Selemakers. A yellow card for him. The Belgian goes into the book. Joining the Barca player Gerard Martin, who in the first half had a slightly rough and ready challenge of his own to stop a fast break.
I know it was only 30 seconds, but that was a pretty productive 30 seconds to start the second half for Barca. So that was an impressive high-pressure situation that won them back the ball immediately in a dangerous situation.
Short free kick from Rafinha. Well, besides the goal from Lewandowski, saw a couple of chances of note for Barca as well, including them getting the ball back into the net from Paul Victor. That goal disallowed for offside off a delightful flick from Robert Lewandowski. Ball rolls through. It's Marc-Andre ter Stegen. We'll see how long he lasts in this game. Got an extended run in the last game against Real Madrid. Do have Iñaki Peña waiting and knocking on the door for some minutes. The defence we have changes in the back line for Barca. It's another all-new back four. Juan Victor brings that across. That was a really, really dangerous move, and it was just behind Robert Lewandowski, who got in at the back post almost unmarked.
Let's have another look here, because I was as surprised as you to see Lewandowski that free. A missed defending opportunity from Tomori.
It looks as if Tomori had switched off. He lost Lewandowski completely, and this is slightly chaotic at the back for AC Milan. Poor control from Torriani. Looks to be a goalkeeper. If you put him under pressure, he doesn't distribute well with his feet. We saw that sliced volley in the first half off a back pass. That ball that goes rather carelessly out.
Oh, yeah, and this is clear that that's what they want to do, is play out of the back, and they've tightened that up.
That swinging corner. Follow-up shot from Casado is blocked. Spins out for a second corner of the second half. Another set piece. We saw Gundogan delivering these in the first period. This is going to be Rafinha in his absence. Rafinha up towards the near post. That one fell on the edge of the 6-yard box before being cleared away. One down the line. Loftus-Cheek had nowhere to go. He is fouled by Clement Lenglet. More substitutes available for Barca. Iñaki Peña, Inigo Martinez, Cuenca, Vitor Roque, Faye, Kier Fernandez, Tony Fernandez, Araujo, Olmedo, Coquin, Davik, Pablo Torre, Hector Fort, Balde, Unai Hernandez and Andra Astralaga. I have to say that is an extensive bench. Pretty much everybody has seen minutes so far in the pre-season. A good handling of the squad from Hansi Flick.
Yeah, a combination of not wanting to overwork anybody and also wanting to see what these players can provide him. So impossible for everybody to get in and play in the same game, but you're on a semblance of vacation out in the US on tour. Obviously, besides the games, you get to hang out with everybody, build some camaraderie.
There's the turn. And Rafinha plays one over the top. That's flicked high. It will drop inside the 6-yard box. A slightly awkward catch by Torriani.
Was awkward, wasn't it? You normally see keepers go up for this one and grab it at its highest point. You can see it come down there, but yeah, he's been a little shaky.
Well, just how many minutes Torriani will see in Serie A this season remains to be seen. If he were to victory, it would be his debut in the Italian top flight. AC Milan, of course, renowned for their quality goalkeepers throughout their history. And the likes of Rossi, Tadida, to many more besides.
Not been able to play out of the back in this second half at all. Suffocating at pressure from Barca.
No turn available there either, as Jules Koundé commits the foul, but he was all over Selemakers. Graciano. Musa, one of those players who stayed on for the second half and is playing in front of the American supporters. Was eligible for several countries. Raised in England, had some history in Italy as well before going to Valencia. American roots, and decided to choose the US men's national team to represent at international level. Kunde. Well, the fans have really raised the decibels at the start of this second half.
It sounds like we are in wave mode. Are you pro-wave, anti-wave, neutral wave?
Well, you have to wonder what the players think of it as well. Some players admit that they get distracted by what goes on in the crowd, others do not. I would say that they're completely focused on the game at hand.
That was a very political answer, but you're not going to get away with it. You have to give me your answer. Pro or anti-wave? It's a very, we would say, polemica here in Spain.
Well, I would be in favour of it, Spence, but I think if it's just the two of us, it loses some of its gravitas.
Right.
As AC Milan get back on the ball. This Barca press is doing a really good job at the start of the second half, and it might force another mistake here from the goalkeeper. He does not look comfortable at all, Torriani, with the ball at his feet.
No, and this is good team pressing too, because everybody's in the right place to keep the pressure on.
Here's Kunde. Trying to get down the line. We've already seen more of Jules Koundé attacking than defending in the opening 10 minutes of the second half. His opening 10 minutes of pre-season. It's a slightly awkward situation for Jules Koundé, because you'd imagine he'd quite like to convince Hansi Flick that he can play at centre-back. That is his favoured position. He's at times been quite vocal that he doesn't really like the right-back position as much. New coach, new opportunity. I have to wonder whether he will get the chance to play in the centre of the defence before the summer is out. Looked outside, Lewandowski points to where he wants that delivery. It's very much overhit for him. Falls to Paul Victor. Lewandowski was setting up another of those spinning back kicks. Nothing becomes of that attack. The delivery was over to the far post. There was an attempt to bring it down for Lewandowski. From Paul Victor to repay the favour from El Clasico.
So a swing and a miss from Marc Bernal, who has had a decent pre-season. I don't know how much space there is for him in the squad, even on the bench this season. If I was to choose between him and Marc Casado right now, I'm picking Casado. The way that he's able to play the ball quickly, he makes very smart, strategic, fast decisions, Casado.
And Paul Victor trying for the turn. The numbers game winning out.
And although it's a different position, we can't forget that Fermin has to make his way back too. And that ball in that situation where Bernal was, if it falls to Fermin, forget about it. It's in the back of the net.
Well, Fermin, so often given the chance to impress in pre-season, doesn't this summer away with the Olympics team.
He's impressing there, scoring goals in every game.
The likes of Fermin and Cubarsí will be back with Barca shortly enough on a Saturday. I believe they will be back in training. It'll be the next session before the Gamper. That's slightly overhit.
Well, they've got a gold medal game to play first. And if you're a Barca fan, that's the team that you find yourself rooting for in the U23 version of football's most important tournament, which in this case, vying for a gold medal. It's not quite World Cup, it's not quite the Euros, but you get a chance to see some of the younger players shine. La Liga in general well represented.
Another foul there on Selemakers, who himself picked up a yellow card to start off the second half. Since then, Barca have been exacting some revenge. That was a push in the back from Sergi Dominguez. By Pau Victor. Centre-back pairing remains Clement Lenglet and Sergi Dominguez. And some quick movement on the passes. Pau Victor just has a look over. This time around he finds Lewandowski. And the Pole bags his brace with a well-taken finish on the volley. Well, in Baltimore, the home of the wire, if you come at the King, you better not miss. Barca on the break. And they find their way back level against AC Milan, who are playing that high line. Pau Victor reads the line to perfection. Flicks it across, and Lewandowski with a coolly taken finish. Barca 2, AC Milan 2.
Pau Victor was offside in a similar run in the first half. Manages to stay on this time. A tidy little chip up for Lewandowski. That's not an easy pass to make. Of course, Lewandowski is going to finish that with an open net, no question about that. So a couple of goals in his preseason finale.
A double for Lewandowski, who's been showing some great touches as well, trying to set up his teammates. That means we are level coming up to the hour. If this game does end all square, we'll have a penalty shootout. We saw one already this pre-season against Manchester City, won by Barca. Long way to go before the 90-minute mark, though. A little bit more confident there from Torriani, but again, his distribution, almost constantly giving the ball away or putting it into touch.
Yeah, if you're going to play out of the back, you can see he's flustered because that's clearly what AC Milan want to do. And you have to have a keeper confident in distribution, as you said, Duncan.
What allows Barca back in. As that ball is robbed away by AC Milan. Selemakers has to double back under pressure from Pau Victor. Well, didn't see much from Pau Victor in the first half, but in the second, he provides another assist to add to his pre-season tally. So impressive contributions from him. And Chukwueze plays that across. A look for it back. Stops for Musa. Did allow that to bounce. It was a slightly awkward bounce as well. Kim Jun-yet unable to read it. And with that, Barca will make a double change, it seems. Iñaki Peña is going to come on, as will Inigo Martinez. The players sacrifice Clement Lenglet and, of course, Marc-Andre ter Stegen.
Another hour for ter Stegen and another chance for Peña to get some preseason action.
So Inigo Martinez steps on. He had his first preseason minutes in the Clásico. So there's changes on the hour. We'll see if they're followed up with any more changes for AC Milan. We're going to have a throw-in for Calabria. Short throw by Calabria. Chukwueze, there's no way through. So we will have more changes. It's going to be Adli who comes on for Musa, and Okafor who replaces Christian Pulisic. And Pulisic, whose double contribution to this game has been the second AC Milan goal, and that rather nasty hit to the head he got from Marc-Andre ter Stegen's clearance. He is replaced with just under half an hour remaining of this pre-season friendly.
The two Americans coming off, no doubt an ovation once again for them in their home country, and it's a new era in that respect for U.S. soccer, if I may, for a moment. They've got a lot of work to do before, of course, the World Cup going to be here in this country in no time at all.
Well, this strike goes way over the top from AC Milan. Chukwueze setting it up, got far too much mustard on it.
I know it seems like it's going to be a long way away, Duncan, but we're going to play out this season. We'll get to next summer, and by that point, it's just one more year of football before we're back to the World Cup again. So a lot to do for a lot of countries, players, and venues.
It will be the second time the World Cup has been held stateside. That one parried away by Torriani.
Rafinha again, getting in the right spots, being there, and okay, you want to be really specific and nitpick on this? Yeah, probably could have been further away from the keeper. That's a strong strike on target.
And he switched over to the right-hand side for that attack, having played the entirety of the first half on the left. Rafinha is one of those players preparing for the corner, and it swings out of play.
The only thing I'm disappointed about, Duncan, for the upcoming World Cup is that my hometown of Chicago will not be one of the host cities. Third biggest city in America, just didn't have the venue ready for it. Yeah, a little disappointed by that. But back to this one, of course. I want to see more of that from Rafinha, and I like that he switches sides too. We need more of that in the 24-25 campaign.
I will see if that's an opportunity for Barca to switch in the second half. We'll see if Rafinha gets more time on the right, or if that was just a sporadic move. It appears for the time being, Rafinha just lurking there. Pau Victor is on the right as well. Those two doubling up. As once again, AC Milan in possession. Finding Barca's press hard to live with. Ball onto the right. Comes with that cutback because Pau Victor robs that away. Those two doubling up on the right, and Rafinha has another opportunity. And he was going back and forth. He seemed reluctant to pull the trigger, and by the time he'd taken his decision, it was too late.
It looked like it was good defending in the end, blocked at the ultimate moment.
There's Rafinha, who is down as a result.
Pau Victor is putting it all on display for Barca this preseason.
So waiting in the box, Pau Victor. To change some words with Marc Bernal. He's come on for the second period. Free kick. And Rafinha. Onto that back post. Pau Victor trying to get it into his teammates. And once again, Barca with the ball at the back under little pressure, looking for an outlet. Rafinha just slips at the wrong time. It meant he couldn't get past Selemakers. Lewandowski has stayed forward. In the first half at times, he was dropping back to show for the ball. A really positive game though for Robert Lewandowski. He's made the right decisions. His movements, his passing, and of course his finishing. To Torriani. And wouldn't you just know it, Torriani sends that into touch.
It's been the theme of the day.
You would have thought he'd try and send one down the middle at some point. He's always trying to pick players out on the flanks. Invariably overhits it. Iñaki Peña. In just past the hour to replace Marc-Andre ter Stegen. He'll be the man facing the penalties if indeed we get to a shootout. Barca looking to get this done in normal time. And the ball played across, falls loose on the edge of the 6-yard box before being swiped away. Turned by Okafor. And the Swiss comes unstuck. We're going to have another yellow card. That's the booking for Marc Casado.
Let's see, Rafinha was the one lurking. Just played away by Tomori. And a tactical foul by Casado. Not to let Milan get out on the run.
Back into the defence.
Milan's attack looks pretty broken right now. When everybody else was on the pitch, their projected starters, it was looking really nice. All of a sudden, though, they seem to lack the depth in the squad to be able to compete. And they've got plenty of work to do this season, obviously managing multiple competitions just like Barca.
Conte.
Seems like Barca are more prepared for the regular season to start than Milan at the moment.
Lewandowski waits on the outskirts of the area. He points to Pau Victor because he wanted to pass to him. Great nutmeg on Salamanca's, looks for the finish. Maybe got a bit too greedy there, and the teammates let him know as well.
Like a replay. Did he have another option here? Okay, he makes the highlight play. One touch in. It's a very low expectancy goal. But I guess you've played so well in the preseason, why not?
He was looking for goal, and maybe if he'd have tried that pass through, two teammates would have got in one another's way. They were both looking to make the run and stay onside. He decided to go for the simpler route with the strike and had too much lift on it. Tio. Tracciano. Goes back into the 6-yard box. It's a sliced clearance. And it looks like we're going to get more Barca substitutions. Vitor Roque is going to come on. Looks like Cuenca, Faye, and Guille Fernandez as well shortly. Still receiving instructions. We didn't see them warm up, but looks like it's just a question of the next pause in play. Hansi Flick to look to make those changes. Some tactical instructions are being given already. Selemakers. Ball by Adli. Comes back to him. It's nicked away though by Robert Lewandowski. Don't see that too often. Lewandowski with the pass to Iñaki Peña. Very low down the list of most frequent passes.
This game looks very similar now to the other two games that we've seen Barca play in the preseason. Once most of the substitutes come in, it takes on a different form. There isn't as much firepower coming forward.
It's not quite an unrecognisable Barca side, but the changes have been significant enough to break things up. Have another look at this foul. Slightly cynical there from Benacer. Sends Kim Jun-yet flying. Through the centre, trying to pick out Rafinha, couldn't find him. That's brilliantly picked up by Lewandowski. Couldn't continue the move though. In the end, he and Koundé get in one another's way. Across the halfway line, but Koundé deals with that easily. Sergio Dominguez partnered by Inigo Martinez at the moment. The centre-back pairing. It doesn't look as if it's going to be long before Andres Cuenca comes on. Lewandowski cushioned back and had Torriani wrong-footed. Goes out of play from Terracciano.
And we're seeing more of Pau Victor popping up in these spaces here, and I like that they're almost forming a strike partnership, Pau Victor and Lewandowski. I mean, it's not your traditional three at the front when those two are out there, especially with Rafinha, who bounces around as well.
Rafinha's going to take the corner. Swings that over into the centre. Almost all of them have gone into that kind of position.
Good service from Rafinha. I do want to see him improve on that more than just about any other part of his game. Last couple of years, he's left too many corner deliveries short.
This one bounces, another one that's difficult to deal with for Torriani. Finally brings it under control. Quarter of an hour still to play, plus whatever's added on of stoppage time, plus perhaps a penalty shootout. As Barca's pre-season rolls on, next game up for them coming up on Monday. A return home for the Gamper against AS Monaco. Liga side travelling from the Principality to take on the Blaugrana in what will be their final pre-season test.
I'll tell you, Duncan, I know we've seen a lot of players get their opportunity at right back, and now Koundé is back in the mix, so of course he's taking the reins here in the second half in that respect. The one player I'm surprised we haven't seen as much of, given the season he had last year, given the way he looked for Las Palmas, is Julian Araujo. It seems to me like he would be a good fit to help out on the right-hand side. And even if at times Hansi Flick wanted to toy with the idea of having a wing-back and then Koundé in support, that could be a partnership between the two that, in the right situation, would work pretty well.
And Barca are going to make a quadruple change by the looks of things. Ran down those players just before when we're seeing them on the sidelines. It is going to be Cuenca on for Dominguez, Vitor Roque replacing Lewandowski, Faye for Gerard Martin, and Guia Fernandez in for Rafinha. A couple of changes as well for AC Milan. Gabia replacing Tomori, Cuenca replacing Chukwueze, and Alex Jimenez, the Spaniard, steps in for Terracciano. And there is Mikel Faye. We saw him on late in the game that took place a couple of days ago, El Clasico, and he's very high up the pitch. He had a chance on goal as well. He was trying to get involved in the attacks. He's got around about 13 minutes to show his stuff.
Yeah, we didn't get the full story, the full picture, and we won't in this preseason either. I'm interested to know where he starts the season, if he is an option off the bench, given some of the injuries with Araujo, for example, if Hansi Flick trusts him enough to give him the opportunity, or if he'd rather have him continue to get reps somewhere else, whether that's at Barca Athletic. I would imagine with the squad this big, it's not going to look like this, obviously, once we get back to the season, given the other players that still have to come back into the squad, whether it's through an injury or because they're away with the internationals. So we're going to get another look at the goals that have led us to this point, all four of them. I would imagine some of these players for Barca are going to head out on loan. We've still got a ways to go in the transfer window up until the end of August. First one set up by Pulisic, the second one scored by him. He gives the fans what they came to see in the US. And then Barca coming back with a couple of unorthodox goals of their own. The first one, Lewandowski, that's neat. And the second one, easier for him to finish off. Pau Victor, a little chippy over the top there. That's well positioned.
And that's the way we stand. We just come out of the hydration break with 10 more minutes to go. A series of substitutions before the end. And one of those players on, Andres Cuenca, steps in at centre-back. So almost all change. In fact, just Marc Casado and Pau Victor and Rafinha, who stay on. As we move on to the left-hand side, it'll shuffle in. Koundé does enough to halt the progress of Salamanca's. In fact, Rafinha has gone off, so just those two players, Casado and Pau Victor, who remain from the starting lineup. This was Koundé's intervention, had to time that one correctly. And was giving a helping hand from one of his teammates.
Sporting the captain's armband as it stands right now. Had an excellent summer where he wasn't taking a whole lot of time off. Thought he really impressed for France in the Euros. Obviously going out to the eventual champs, but there's a lot of room for him to continue growing this year too.
Barca have had the better of the possession in the second half. They looked more useful with it. They've given that away though to Silamak, as is getting further and further forward. At the back. Slightly awkward turn by Adli. That was a more convincing one. Short pass out by Torriani. Still a lot to do for Torriani. Needs to get prepared for a new season and be in contention for some sort of a starting role. Barca, Iñaki Peña is a little further along with his progress. You have to wonder whether Iñaki Peña would be at some point angling for a move away to get first team football. Player who has the quality, but just does not receive the opportunities. He did so when Marc-Andre ter Stegen was injured. But he knows his opportunities will be few and far between.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest difference, right? And we know that, and we talk about it all the time with keepers. If you're not the first choice keeper, then the only thing that gets you in the game outside of a cup competition potentially is an injury. And Peña finally did get that opportunity. It's part of the reason why Arnau Tenas, who's the starter for the under-23s at the Olympics right now for Spain, went away. I think he realized that there was a pecking order, that he was a lot further down on the list than he'd like, and he went off to PSG for that reason.
The challenge in results in a yellow card. Here's a booking for Kim Yun-Yet. Probably felt he was owed one of them because he's been taken out frequently in the second half. And some of the more industrial challenges. One bypasses the Barca defence, but they will get back goal side. Game has just lost its shape slightly.
Yeah. It seems like both teams are ready to take penalties now.
Well, they will only have to wait just over 6 minutes to do so. And see if it does come to penalties what the selection process is like. We didn't really see how Hansi Flick had planned that in the game against Manchester City. The cameras were focused on Pep Guardiola, just asking who wants to take a penalty. Seemed as if the Barca spot kicks were a little bit more organised.
Dress announcer is more active in these friendlies than any other game that we would ever see in Europe, isn't it?
Well, making his voice heard, as were the fans during this second half.
Mikel Faye is trying out left back and left wing back at this point. I'm not sure that that's his natural position, but sure, give it a go, why not?
And his thinking will be that the game has broken down so completely that it's an opportunity for him to sneak forward.
He does like it, doesn't he? We've only seen about 20 minutes of this kid, but in the preseason here at least, but he really does like to sneak.
Barca brought that back, but it was a foul on Salamakis. That results in another yellow card. It's Aguirre Fernandez, just with a hand on the shirt of the Belgian. Trying to stop his run through the middle. Pretty much all of the yellow cards have been for that. Just trying to stop any fast break. We get one final change for Barca before the end. And Pau Victor is going to be withdrawn for Tony Fernandez to come on. Malik Thiaw has been replaced for AC Milan. Zeroli has come on. Likewise, Kalulu has been given an opportunity to have just the briefest of run-outs. Pal Victor with an assist to his name to add to his impressive pre-season showing. He was largely anonymous in the first half. Made that contribution in the second period, looking a bit more comfortable. It leaves just Marc Casado as the only player who started this game, who's still on the pitch for Football Club Barcelona. Faye. Cuenca has a look. When you look at the players on the pitch, a few of them will be in the pecking order to take penalties when the season starts. A shootout which seems almost inevitable. It'll be largely just a bit of fun.
I envision a similar scenario to what Pep Guardiola said when they were getting ready a week ago, when he looked at all of his young players and says, "Who wants to take it? Anybody?"
Ismail Benacer, the Algerian, has picked up a yellow.
Ooh. Ow.
A body check there on Kim Yun-yet, who's been in the wars this evening.
Yeah, he's gotten the worst of it.
Also, one of the smaller players on the pitch, Kim Yun-yet.
Yeah.
That means a shoulder check will tend to bloody your lip or cause some damage to your nose. There's Koundé whilst Yun-yet is receiving some treatment. Koundé. Complaint by Salamakers. I thought Koundé was offside. We're going to go into stoppage time shortly. I think there will be some due to the cooling break. A couple of pauses in the action. Koundé. Jules Koundé as well to hold on to that ball. 4 additional minutes to be played. Lifted towards the box. And yet, clever touch from him. Get the ball around the AC Milan player. Koundé has made a run all the way down that right-hand side. His presence is ignored though, as Vitor Roque gives chase to the ball that he had lost. He's won it back. Looks for the low delivery. It just needed a finish. That was a very, very good delivery from Vitor Roque. Here's Faye from distance. Well, he stayed back, but that wasn't going to stop him from having a pop.
I know he didn't hit the target, but what impressed me actually about that sequence was, first of all, Roque winning the ball back nicely, trying to pick out a pass, shoots it towards the middle, and then watch how much power Mikel Faye gets on this without much of a build-up. He puts it in front of him and just sears it.
A low on the back lift from Faye from quite the distance. And he put Turiani to the test. And Turiani sent to face plenty more shots. There's a penalty shootout is looming. We're into the second of 4 minutes of additional time. Jimenez, the Spanish player in the ranks of AC Milan. Challenge for the ball. There, Hansi Flick almost took the brunt of that. Just a minute or so to go before Hansi Flick and Paulo Fonseca will be deciding who takes the penalties in this pre-season friendly. Faye. You imagine he would be volunteering for one?
I would think so.
Martinez back to Faye. Now all the way back to Iñaki Peña.
Don't see many instances where any of the 11 players on the pitch are going to be asked to take a penalty in a situation that has massive consequences. Maybe Koundé if we get to the 7th or 8th round of a Champions League knockout, but just don't see it being very likely. So let's have fun with it.
Inigo Martinez. Now Cuenca. The referee, just a quick check of his watch. We are about to go into a penalty shootout. One final chance for Barca though. They're on the run. Milan have players back. There was the interception by Calabria. And with that, we come to the end of normal time. Final score, Barca 2, AC Milan 2. Penalty shootout on the way, which should be a fun one.
Yeah, let's have some fun. And we saw, what was it, Andras Tralaga, who got his chance against City, and now it'll be Iñaki Peña who has an opportunity to make a save or two. See if he can get the job done. And now the same concept for both sides to be applied of, we need an order. We need penalty takers. Who's going to do it?
Iñaki Peña, ironically enough, had been taken off in the game against Manchester City for Astralaga to come on. Now it is he who comes on for Marc-Andre ter Stegen and does get a penalty shootout to add to his resume. Paulo Fonseca is deciding who the takers will be.
Even in just that quick image right there, you can see he's not really concerned or doesn't even really know who should be taking them. Just sort of asking.
So it will be best of 5 from the spot. You have to imagine that Koundé would be amongst the takers. It's almost a completely changed starting 11 for Barca. Only player remaining on the field of play is Marc Casado. So we shall see who is chosen for each side. There will be a toss of a coin to see which end they'll be shooting towards and who will go first.
All in all, a successful tour, I would call it, across the United States.
Calabria and Koundé over the coin toss.
Seen a lot of Torriani with the ball at his feet. Now he's got a chance to make a stop or two as well. And Iñaki Peña with a rare chance to make a couple of penalty saves.
Well, Hansi Flick just gives a final pep talk to his players. A chance to impress for Iñaki Peña. It looks as if he is going to be the first goalkeeper to face a spot kick.
I like that we keep the traditions alive. The line it up, arm in arm. Let's pretend this moment has Champions League final level implications.
Well, there has been a new school of thought with these penalties. Rather than having people lining up, have them separately, and you have one player who comes back and takes the taker back, rather than having the more daunting sight perhaps of all your teammates together. There's a lot of psychology involved. Saw a lot of that with the England national team in their games during Euro 2024. One player to protect the taker as well from any attempts to distract him. First player up to take the penalty is Benacer against Iñaki Peña. Iñaki Peña standing just behind the line. Benacer not giving any hints as to his intentions, but Iñaki Peña reads it well, gets down to his left. It's another penalty shootout for Barca and another penalty save. This time around, Iñaki Peña picking up from where Ander Estrelaga left off.
We talk about a comfortable height. That's as comfortable as it gets. Didn't have to go high or low. It just went right to him. You guessed the right way. That'll work. Barca on the right foot.
Well, they send their captain forward. Jules Koundé, who's taken on the armband with that series of changes in the second half. And now takes on responsibility for Barca's first penalty to hand them an advantage in the shootout. Koundé, right-footed, sends it wide. Outside the left post, Jules Koundé with the penalty miss. One apiece taken, none converted just yet.
Well, that's one he'd like to have back, Koundé.
Next up is Calabria. Like Koundé, he's taken on the captain's armband in the second half, having come on as a substitute. Like Koundé, it's going to be a right-footed take. And he puts his into the net. Calabria with the first penalty converted in this shootout.
Confident, decisive, and crisp right into the side netting.
So trying to match Calabria is Kim Yun-Yet. He's stemmed the bleeding, has really been in the wars since coming on in the game, has been the subject of several kicks, pushes and shoulder barges. Now he gets his opportunity in front of goal. Little pause in his step, and that was enough for the goalkeeper to read his intentions. Seems as if he was waiting on Torriani's movement, and Torriani stood firm.
Yeah, that pause was good. He had the right idea, and then he ended up just putting it to the side that the keeper went.
So two taken, none converted by Barca in this penalty shootout. Well, they found themselves behind before in this game. They will need a turnaround if they're going to remain unbeaten in pre-season. Next up, AC Milan. Okafor. Okafor scores very easily indeed. Iñaki Peña was committed. By the time he saw it was going to his left, it was too late. And more penalties to come. Barca still looking to open their account in this shootout. Entrusted with the responsibility is Marc Bernal. And Bernal scores down the middle, almost on the underside of the top netting. Smoothly done by Marc Bernal. So we start the latest round. It's going to be Kalulu, who steps up to the spot. Iñaki Peña shows him to the right. And the penalty is skied here in Baltimore. Here's an opportunity for Barca to get back on terms with their fourth penalty.
Well, that was one that would have been good for 3 points in American football, right over and through the uprights. But AC Milan, and for Barca, gives the Blaugrana a chance to get back level.
He was brought on very late in the game, and Tony Fernandez is given a penalty. Languid run up from Tony Fernandez, slowly taken penalty, and he does convert. Well, we're all square going into penalty number 5. Big pressure on Adli. He misses this and Barca score, and the Blaugrana will win the shootout. Looking left, sends it straight down the middle. Iñaki Peña felt he was going to go even further to his left. Such an exaggerated look at the left. It was never going to go there. So Vitor Roque.
Well, here's a guy who we might actually see have a chance to take a penalty at some point this season.
The Brazilian striker and set the ball down. Decides to replace it. Stuttered run up. Solid finish. Goalkeeper gets the right way, but it was tucked inside that left post.
It's a nice penalty.
So we will go to sudden death.
Those are the kinds of penalties where you actually don't mind seeing the keeper guess the right way, because it validates that there was nothing that he could have done about it.
So Iñaki Peña will face the next penalty. It will be sudden death. It's going to be Zeroli. Zeroli goes for power and smashes that one inside the side netting. Next up for Barca will be Faye. We thought he'd be part of the first 5 takers. He's going to be involved in the sudden death.
That's his chance here.
He had an effort from distance, all smiles from Hansi Flick. Penalty shootout, not something to be taken too seriously in pre-season. With a square run up, just pulls over to the right. Marches up and it's saved. AC Milan win the penalty shootout. Barca's unbeaten pre-season record is over, but a positive game for the Blaugrana in terms of giving minutes to their players. The final score 2-2 in regular time. A win on sudden death penalties for AC Milan. Next up for Barca is the Gamper against AS Monaco.